Death is flying in, and it's never been hotter, weirder, or just wrong. We've got a smoker who wound up getting flamed, a beautiful dreamer who couldn't wake up, a pool shot that's hard to swallow, peeping perverts, the ultimate late-night snack, and to top it off, freaks in animal suits doing the wild thing. If you're not breathing hard and sweating after all of this, check your pulse. You might already be dead. Warning. The deaths portrayed in this show are real and extremely graphic. Names have been changed to protect the identities of the deceased. Do not attempt to try any of the actions depicted. You will die. Death is everywhere. Most of us try to avoid it. Others can't get out of its way. Every day we fight a new war against germs, toxins, injury, illness, and catastrophe. There's a lot of ways to wind up dead. The fact that we survive it all is a miracle. Because every day we live, we face 1,000 ways to die. You wouldn't know it by looking at him, but Myron Burns is a very lucky man. A few weeks ago, he was found barely alive, with third-degree burns over 90% of his body. He had fallen asleep while smoking in bed.
I think we've all been around people who, I gotta have a smoke, I gotta have a smoke, I gotta have a smoke. They're not the most fun to be around. Are they gonna be making really clear, focused decisions? Probably not.
He bribed the night nurse $100 to leave him out back, no questions asked.
Okay, Mr. Burns, you have 2 minutes. Don't do anything stupid.
Once out of sight, Myron produces a hidden cigarette. His addiction to nicotine has made him a desperate man. Nicotine is a super toxin, 3 times deadlier than arsenic and more lethal than rattlesnake venom. This cigarette is about to bite Myron here, right in the ash. The cigarette ash carries just enough of a spark to ignite his bandages, which are soaked in a highly flammable ointment. Helpless, Myron bursts into flame and starts rolling down the handicap ramp. At the bottom of the ramp, his oxygen tank explodes. Myron goes out in a blaze of gory.
Fourth-degree burn is a burn that goes all the way through to the bone. That's really tragic. I mean, teeth are recognizable, maybe if you're lucky, dental records, but the patient's complete physiognomy is gone. You can even have the pulverizing of the bone if it continues to burn.
Hey, buddy, got a light? Alexei had the kind of looks any guy or gal would kill for. But she traded all in for something most take for granted. A good night's sleep. But every night she would have the same nightmare. A creature would appear and try to suffocate her. This type of recurring nightmare is called SUNS. Sudden Unexpected Nocturnal Death Syndrome. It involves a nocturnal visit of an evil being that threatens to press the very life out of the dreamer. Since 1977, more than 100 have died from this mysterious sleep disorder. If you were a fly on Alexei's wall, you would see the bizarre sight of this beautiful woman, alone in her bed, being violently choked and thrashed within an inch of her life. But it was nothing but the baddest of bad dreams.
No.
Unable to wake up, Alexei was being frightened to the point where her heart was beating erratically, a fatal condition called cardiac arrhythmia. The fiendish little person sat on her chest, wrapped his tiny little hands around her throat, and squeezed with all his might. She died in her sleep. Cause of death? Heart attack. They say if you die in a dream, you die for real. If we could only ask Alexei if this were true. But she never woke up from her frightmare. Maybe we should ask the dwarf. Next up, when nature calls,
get out of here, you freak!
No one gets out alive. And Mr. Peepers goes for broke. James Little E. Johnson was hardly what you would call a model citizen.
Whoa! You about the ugliest damn god I ever seen in my life. That's right, boy. You can be hearing my voice for the rest of your damn life. Better pray they kill me.
On death row for 7 counts of murder,
You hear me?
he was days before his scheduled execution in the electric chair.
What's up with that daughter of yours, man? I'm feeling kind of lonely in here. Won't you bring her on down?
Little E abused everyone in his path, including his public defender, Frank Stone. That's why when Frank dropped by with some good news for his client, he wasn't happy.
Look, I'm here to tell you, your sentence has been changed to life without parole. You got that? You scum.
Hey, Mr. Lawyer Man, baby, where you going? That's good news. Hey, bring your wife, man. We can all celebrate.
Little E celebrated his luck by indulging in his favorite cell activity, watching Oprah while sitting on his state-issued Full Metal crapper. But he would soon learn that karma is less fickle than the law. When Little E grabbed the frayed wire to fix the TV, he accidentally turned his throne into an electric chair.
I think this inmate that sat on the metal seat has really set him up to optimally conduct as much electricity through his body as possible. Something like 100 milliamps that's put across the heart can actually knock your heart out of rhythm and cause you to have sudden cardiac death. Most certainly, he died of a cardiac arrhythmia.
The 110-volt current passing through his skin and grounding to the metal toilet seat was more than enough to fry Little E. The hot juice stopped his heart cold. The bottom line, karma is a bitch, and when she comes back at you, there's no escape. This is Randy. He's out of his gourd. He ate a handful of magic mushrooms, and now he's wandering around the desert higher than a kite.
When this guy ate the mushrooms, there was probably a compound called psilocybin present in them, and your body converts that to psilocin, which is actually what's responsible for the hallucinogenic effect.
He asked the bushes for an answer and got nothing. He got in touch with his inner dog and got dirty. To anyone not tripping out on mushrooms, Randy would appear to be completely insane. And then things got really weird. At the end of the day, Randy came upon a group of fornicating furries. What's a furry? People who like to put on animal costumes and get together for fun things like group sex.
A furry orgy is often known as a fur pile. We summon our spirit animals, and whatever happens next is whatever, naturally will happen.
In Randy's state of mind, sex seemed like a great idea. The zebra looked kind of cute.
Hey, get your hands off of me.
This orgy was turning tricky. Instead of a threesome with the zebra and the cute beaver, Maybe it was time to squeeze some honey out of Ms. Bunny. But the cock shooed Randy away with his pecker.
He most likely wouldn't be welcome if he was just any old dude, or especially if he was a dude. You know, it's like, who is this guy? Who's coming into my kingdom?
Get out of here, you freak!
It looked like Randy would get no love from the animal kingdom, when all of a sudden, there she was, a sultry little furry in a teddy. Randy knew he was about to get smoky with Mama Bear. It turns out Randy got freaky with the wrong furry. It was a real live bear, and it wasn't into casual sex with a human.
The bear looked at him as an aggressor. The bear took it as an attack, not as a game. And once they're on top of you with all four paws around you, they'll just start biting and start eating. And the worst part about it is normally they start eating before you did.
Let's recap what we've learned from Randy's gruesome death. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And this is a bear ripping out your throat after you tried to have sex with it while you were high on drugs. The lesson? When nature calls, just say no. Coming up, choke turns to croak when a barroom trick goes bad. And hot turns cold when a perv gets too bold.
Call 911!
911 won't be any help here. A lot of guys have died on barroom floors, but Sonny Hughes checked out like no other. Rack 'em up. It was a typical night out for this bunch of bikers and their chicks. Sonny had a reputation for being the craziest dude on the street. So when his homies started calling out,
"Hey, Sonny! Hey, Sonny! Do the trick, brother! Do the trick, man!
even though it was dangerous, Sonny couldn't say no.
Certain people are more apt to be risk takers, to be aggressive, to be less hemmed in by possible negative consequences.
Sonny's trick was a real crowd pleaser. He'd take a pool ball, jam it in his big mouth, and swallow it halfway down his throat. Using his throat muscles, he'd roll the ball up and down his gullet. Then he'd squeeze the pool ball back up and out his mouth.
You can swallow things either all the way down in the stomach or just hold them in the back of your throat. It's a pretty cool thing, but it's really, really dangerous.
But he decided to go for round 2, and this time he picked up the cue ball. Bad move, Sonny. He got the ball down his throat.
Why is it so low?
But when he tried to squeeze it back up, that's when things turned ugly.
Somebody call 911!
No matter how hard he tried, Sonny was unable to force the cue ball back up. Sonny didn't realize, on a barroom pool table, the cue ball is a little larger than the others. This allows it to be fed down a return chute after a scratch to continue play. When Sonny fed the larger cue ball down his chute, it stayed down. He had performed this trick 100 times before. He died without ever finding out why this time it didn't work.
Ignore, call 911!
There's nothing like a full moon to bring out the freaks. Say hello to Arnold Moss. When Arnold freaks, he peeps into windows.
Something about looking in on a girl when you're masturbating that is better than a sexual experience, I guess, for me. I don't know why. It seems like the climax will be faster.
Arnold couldn't believe his luck. He had never seen anyone make love to a refrigerator before.
Oh. Best way to enjoy that, you'd have to be able to be masturbating for me.
Oh, my God.
You'd want to be masturbating, but you don't want to be caught. You don't want some neighbor yelling, "Hey, what are you doing?" So you got to try to hide. You got to be in good view. You know, you want to get a good shot of that and try not to make any noise so she doesn't hear you.
During the day, Arnold was an introverted wimp. He would never have the guts to go up to a woman this hot.
Oh.
But tonight, he was the popsicle. Arnold was so aroused, he broke the #1 rule for a peeping perv. Stay outside the window.
Best day of my life.
But he had lost control. He leaned in too far. Susu went cuckoo. And it all came crashing down, right on Arnold's pencil-thin neck. In the heat of the moment, his elbow jerked back, knocking out a stake holding up the window. The window came down and severed his spinal cord between discs C2 and C3. This is where nerves go out to control basic body functions, such as breathing and blood pressure. When this connection was broken, death was instantaneous. Arnold finally learned his lesson. It's not cool to peep on people. You're breaking the law. And like Arnold here, your neck. Up next, a pilot's life comes crashing down when his chopper goes from flying to falling. A helicopter is basically a flying gearbox. If any one of the components fail, it plunges to the ground, killing all on board. That's what happened to helicopter pilot Ben Moore while lifting a 7,000-pound air conditioner. Ben, in front of his friends and co-workers, then plunged headfirst to a certain death.
Grandpa, you stay here. I had a feeling, Slim, a feeling. I'm recording. I'm recording.
But fate had a different plan for Ben Moore. Against all odds, he lived to tell the tale of the crash that should have killed him.
Well, our mission that day was that I was going to change out a cooling tower. And just as I began to get about even with the building is when I heard the loud bang and a thump.
The drive shaft to the tail rotor snaps, and Ben's helicopter begins to spin out of control. He immediately jettisons the heavy load.
I tried to maneuver over to our prearranged emergency landing spot.
The only way to land a helicopter with a broken tail rotor is to shut down the engine to stop it from spinning out of control. It's called a hovering auto-rotation.
Basically, take the engines out and then use whatever inertia is left in those blades to act as a cushion.
The pilot only gets one chance. Just before impact, he must yank his controls to produce maximum lift from his flailing rotors.
I probably started the maneuver about 50 feet too high. So at about 40 feet, I ran out of RPM and all those options that I wanted to do. And at that point, I said to myself, well, this is death.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
When I hit, the helmet I'm wearing goggles and everything, take the impact. I had a really nasty cut on my nose. I actually flayed it open.
Ben's helicopter plunged face first. Nobody who witnessed the incident believed that anyone would survive this kind of impact.
For whatever reason, the Lord decided that wasn't my day. It certainly wasn't up to me at that point.
Ben Moore is living proof. Death doesn't want you, unless it's your time to die.
It's original.